Let's begin by offering our respects to ISKCON founder Acharya and our preeminent Shiksha Guru, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
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 Om Agyana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so we welcome all of you to our weekly Bhagavad Gita classes. We are glad to have with us here today Jagrati, Vinita, Dipti Adnani, Lavina Ramchandran. Then we have AK. I don't know who is AK. We have Divina, Disha Melwani, Divya Budrani. Then we have Durga Prasad, Harman Bakshani, Joli Nandwani, Karuna Jadwani, Khushbu, Lal and Mehek Melwani. Then we have Manju, Mehek Bakshani, NC Venkatchari, Neha Chatlani. My parents are there. Then we have Ritu Lalwani, Saket, Sri Radhe Hari Devidasi, Suhani, Shivani, and Harsha. Okay. So what did we see in the previous class? Which chapter are we on?
Chapter 9.
Chapter 9. What is the title of chapter 9?
It is the most confidential knowledge.
Most confidential knowledge. So what do we mean? What is the most confidential knowledge?
From which what we know, then we don't have to know anything else. Like if we know Krishna and Krishna is Shuddh Bhakti, then we don't have to know anything else.
Okay.
Is unalloyed?
It's unalloyed. See, pure, most confidential knowledge is nothing but knowledge of how we can conquer the unconquerable by pure devotional service. As you use the word unalloyed, no, unalloyed, pure. There is no mixing. There is no other intention other than to please the Lord. So most confidential knowledge is how we can conquer the unconquerable. So we can do that by pure unalloyed devotional service, pure bhakti. So here this chapter started with Krishna telling what is a qualification for one to understand. One is that one has to be non-envious of the Lord. If one is non-envious, then only he will give us jnana and vijnana, the knowledge and the realized knowledge. The theoretical knowledge as well as the realization of that knowledge. Then as a result of that, what happens? One will be relieved from the miseries of material existence. No more birth, death, disease, and old age. Then Krishna glorifies this knowledge in the second verse by saying it's the king of education, the most secret of all secrets, and so on and so forth. So in verse 2, he is glorifying this knowledge. And then he goes on to say that one who is not faithful, that person cannot attain Krishna. And as a result of that, what happens? One returns to the path of birth and death. Then from 4 to 10, Krishna gave us Aishwarya Jnana. He's giving us knowledge of his opulence. And he explained how he is the creator, he is the destroyer, and he is the maintainer. So he says that he pervades the entire universe, but he is not in it, which means that he is completely swarat, completely independent. He is not subject to the rules and regulations of this material manifestation. He doesn't go through birth, death, disease, and old age. He does not have to follow the rules and regulations. So he says how he creates and he destroys. He says at the end of the millennium, everything enters into him, and at the beginning of another millennium, again there is creation by his potency. Then he says the whole cosmic order is under me. So Krishna is saying that everything, the whole cosmic order is under Krishna. Just by his willing, everything is created and destroyed and maintained. Krishna doesn't have to work in a tedious manner. No, he doesn't have to be. Just by his willing, everything is created, destroyed, and maintained. And then Krishna says that no work can bind him. So although he has created everything, he destroys everything, he maintains everything, Krishna remains completely detached from all material activities. And Krishna says that he is neutral. So he does not interfere with the law of karma. He will only interfere with the law of karma when one surrenders to Krishna. Unless and until one doesn't surrender to Krishna, one is under the rules and regulations of one is under the karmic cycle. One has to suffer or enjoy for one's good and bad activities. But once one surrenders to Krishna, then Krishna, one is under the direct protection of Krishna. Now whatever comes directly from Krishna. So Krishna is like a judge who's neutral. When a judgment is passed, the cause of the judgment is not the judge. The cause of the judgment is the person who has committed the crime. Then in the 10th verse, Krishna says that how this material nature is working under my direction. Krishna says it is working under my direction. He says this very famous verse. He says, Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti. This Prakriti, this material world is under the Adhyaksha or under the superintendence of Maya. Maya means me, mine. So Krishna is saying that this whole material nature is running under my superintendence. Okay, so today we will start from verse number 11. Does anybody have any questions before we can proceed to today's class?
Can I read Mataji?
Yes. Who was that? Sri Radhehari. Okay. Thank you. Let me share my screen 1 second. So today we'll see section 3, verses 11, and we'll see how far we can go. But here basically Krishna is talking about the different kinds of worshippers. He begins by mentioning people who consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being because they believe that God does not have a form, that God cannot have a form, God is formless. So when Krishna appears, they think that he is an ordinary human being with extraordinary powers. So Krishna describes them to be foolish. Krishna uses the word mudha. So here he is beginning this section by calling those people foolish. Then after that, he goes on to explain the Mahatmas or the great devotees or the great souls or the Ananya Bhaktas who worship Krishna by pure devotional service and in a constant way. So their devotion is constant and it is pure. So they are the Mahatmas, the Mahan Atmas, the great souls. So these are two extremes, the grossly foolish and then the pure devotees. And then he goes on to explain that there are people who are in between these two, the indirect worshippers, those who are worshipping Krishna in an indirect way. So they don't know that the object that they are worshipping or the person that they are worshipping is actually they are worshipping Krishna only. So who are these three indirect worshippers? Ekatvena, Prathakvena, and Vishvata Mukham. Ekatvena, those who are worshipping Krishna as one without a second. He who worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord. So these are the Mayavadis. We will go in detail when we go to these verses. And then Prathakvena is the worshipping of the demigods, the devatas. So that's why as diverse in many people say, why do you have so many gods? So Krishna will throw light upon demigod worship in this section. And then Vishvato Mukham, or worshipping Krishna in the universal form. So this Ekatvena, Krishna will elaborate in chapter 12, the first 5 shlokas. He only mentions it here in shloka number 15, but he will elaborate it in this particular section. And then Prathakvena, he will elaborate in this very chapter, verses 22, 25. There here we will see about the worship of the devatas or the demigods. Then worshipping of the universal form, Vishvato Mukham, he will elaborate in this chapter 16 to 19, verses 16 to 19, and also in chapter number 11. Of course, chapter 11 is the whole chapter that is dedicated to when Krishna showed the universal form or the Virat Roop. One must remember that this Virat Roop, this universal form, is a material manifestation. Krishna is not living in that Virat Roop, in that universal form, in any part of the spiritual world. No? In Goloka, he is living in his two-handed form. In the Vaikunta, he is in his four-handed form. Nowhere is he actually living in that Virat Roop, in that universal form. This was a temporary material manifestation that Krishna showed to Arjuna upon Arjuna's request. Okay, so this we will see in this section. And then, yeah, so this we've already discussed. Worshiping Krishna's universal form and the Devata worship. So let's first hear the shloka.
अवजानन्ति मां मूढा मानुषीं तनुमाश्रितं परं भावमजानन्तो मम भूतमहेश्वरम्.
Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. Hare Krishna.
So fools deride me when I descend in the human form, Krishna is saying. So he's saying that these are mudas, foolish people, because they cannot accept that the Lord can come in the human form, because they say that God is formless. So avajananti, they don't know, avajananti. So because they are not aware, they deride, they cannot understand. So fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature. So they do not understand that Krishna is transcendental, param bhavam. No, the Lord can be formless. He can also take a form. What is it that God cannot do? So Krishna, yes, is the Brahma Jyoti. He is the light. But at the same time, he is also the Paramatma who is living in our hearts. At the same time, he's also a person. He's also a person who can come in the form of a human, Manushim. So he comes in a human-like form. That doesn't mean that he's an ordinary human being. It's a human-like form. So Krishna is saying, fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. So they are not able to understand. He's saying that he is Maheshwaram. He is the supreme proprietor. He is Maha Ishwaram. Okay. See, so what are some of the misconceptions of Krishna or Lord Ram when they appear? What is it that people misunderstand? They think that they are ordinary human beings who have gained extraordinary powers because of extraordinary tapasya. So they have got some mystic powers. And because of that, only Krishna is able to raise the Govardhan hill on the little finger of his left hand. They are not able to accept that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has come in a human-like form. Or they say that Krishna is a failed politician. He was not able to prevent the war. Or Krishna instigated Arjuna to fight and therefore he was the cause of all this bloodshed. Or they say that Lord Ram is an agriculturist. Or Krishna is immoral. He's dancing with the gopis. So these are all the misconceptions of these foolish people because they cannot understand, they cannot accept that the Lord can descend as Manushim. He can descend in a human form. See, let's try to understand from the external angle of vision. Can something that is unlimited have a form? If there is something that's unlimited, no, there are no limits. Can something that is unlimited have a form?
Yes, everything has a form. There is no such thing as without a form. Krishna has not created anything that does not have a form, and himself also has a form. And if it's unlimited, even then it has a form.
Does air have a form? Is air unlimited?
It has a form in a group of smoke, not as you cannot see air, you can only feel air. But when air becomes like smoky, then it has a form.
Smoke
Yes,
has a
hello.
different form?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Air has a form, but when it is windy.
When it is
Windy.
windy.
When there's a lot of, yeah. The speed of air. The speed of air is in some places. And that place where it is there, it has a form.
No, form means we are giving it it has a definite form. You can understand what is form?
Shape. That's what
Shape.
you mean.
Yes.
I think for unlimited, I don't think you can have, because even if you have, you're only seeing one part of it, so you don't see the whole thing. So then you will feel like there is no form; it's formless. Is that correct?
From the material angle of vision, or from the external angle of vision, if you go to see, that which is unlimited does not have a form. Okay. Now, can something that has a form be unlimited? Again, from the material or external angle of vision. Can something that has a form be unlimited? We are talking about from the material angle of vision.
No.
No. But now, is Krishna unlimited? Is Krishna Ananta?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because Krishna is, he himself said, as we saw in the first section of this, the second section of this chapter, Krishna says that he has pervaded the entire universe. So he is unlimited. Does Krishna have a form?
Yes.
When Krishna appeared, he had the form, right? 2 hands, 2 legs. Yes. So
Yes.
Krishna is unlimited. At the same time, he has a form. So how to understand this?
Because he can take the form.
Because,
Since he
since,
is unlimited, he can take the
Uh-huh.
form.
yes, he can take the form that he wants to. He's unlimited and he also has a form. So this is what we call, we have discussed this word before. This is the inconceivable potency of the Lord. What is the Sanskrit? Anybody remembers? Inconceivable potency in Sanskrit?
Satchitananda?
Achintya. Achintya.
Oh, Chin-
Achintya Shakti means inconceivable potency. So although Krishna is unlimited, he still has a form. This is called as the Achintya Shakti, the Lord's inconceivable power or potency. So Krishna uses the word here Param Bhavam. See, he uses the word Param Bhavam. The absolute truth can have a form and still be unlimited. This is called as the Lord's inconceivable power, Achintya Shakti. Lord Krishna can have a form that fits in the lap of Mother Yashoda. But when he opens the mouth, the entire universe is seen. So if you think of this from the material angle of vision, one would say, how is that possible? If a child is sitting in the lap of his mother, and when he opens the mouth, the entire universe can be seen. How can that be possible? Because Krishna is within the universe, and still how the universe can be within him. It doesn't make sense. No, materially, it does not make sense. So this is the mistake that most people make from our material logic, or we try to apply our material understanding to spiritual concepts. And then we say all this is nonsense. This is not possible. So we should not try to understand spiritual truths from the material angle of vision. We need to switch. We need to make that mental switch, because these are inconceivable potencies that make such impossible things possible. Even when Krishna is in the universe is still in him. So this is what Krishna says, Krishna's Param Bhavam, the Achintya Shakti, the inconceivable potency of Krishna. See, there are two kinds of impersonalists. Why we are talking about impersonalists here is because Krishna is talking about those who fools deride me when I descend the human form. So there are two kinds of impersonalists, Brahmavadis and Mayavadis. The Brahmavadis have an attraction towards the impersonal Brahman effulgence and desire to merge into it. They have some chances of advancement as they are not offensive to the absolute truth. So the Brahmavadis are innocent in the sense that they do not offend the Lord. They have a natural attraction towards the Brahma Jyoti, and their desire is to merge in the Brahma Jyoti, and it stops at that. But the Mayavadis, they are offensive. They also desire to merge into the Brahman effulgence, but they think that they can become equal to Ram, Krishna, etc., thus committing offenses to the personal form of the Lord. There is a minimization, derision, and offense towards the personal aspect of the God. So why are the Mayavadis offensive? Why are they committing aparad towards the Lord? Is because they think that they can become equal to the Lord. But we know that we are eternally the servants of the Lord. We can never become equal, or we can never become greater than the Lord. We always remain minute, minuscule parts and parcels of the Lord. So the Mayavadis, they think that they can become equal to Ram and Krishna. How? By spiritual advancement. They think that now we are covered by the different modes of material nature. When one is covered by the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance, therefore we cannot become equal to Ram and Krishna. But then by advancing spiritually, we can also get those kind of powers and potency, and we can become equal to Ram and Krishna. So this thinking that you can become equal to God is actually you're committing an offense to the Lord, because you're minimizing or deriding the supreme personality of Godhead. So therefore the Mayavadis are offensive. Brahmavadis, they have an attraction to the Brahman effulgence and they desire to merge, but they do not think that they can become equal to God. So therefore they are not offensive. But the Mayavadis, they are offensive. So Mayavad understanding is see every human being as God. So therefore, when they greet each other, when the Mayavadi sannyasis, they greet each other, oh, you are God, I am God, everyone is God. This is how they see each other. No? So see every human being as God. That is the Mayavad understanding. But what is the correct understanding? See the Lord in every human being, which is you, whenever you see not only every human being, but every living entity, you see the Lord in every living entity. How? Because the Paramatma is residing in the heart of every living entity. And that's the reason why a devotee does not want to harm even a small ant. See, therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has warned. Mayavadi Bhashya Sunile Haya Sarvanasha. Sarvanash, your spiritual life will be finished if you hear Sunile, if you hear the Bhashya, if you hear from the Mayavadi. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has strictly warned. He says, if you hear from a Mayavadi, then your spiritual life will be finished because you are offending directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it is strictly prohibited to hear from the Mayavadi sannyasis. What's the Mayavad philosophy? When Brahman comes in contact with the mode of goodness, extraordinary entities with supernatural powers, they will manifest. When Brahman comes in contact with mode of passion, Brahman is nothing but the Brahman effulgence, the light emanating from Krishna's body. So when Brahman comes in contact with mode of passion, living entities are manifested, jivas. When Brahman comes in contact with the mode of ignorance, material world is manifested, jagat. So we are not like Krishna and Rama because we have not realized our strength. This is the Mayavad philosophy. When we raise ourselves to the level of goodness, then we can become like Ram and Krishna. So we can become equal to Ram and Krishna when we raise ourselves, when we advance ourselves to the level of goodness. So this is their faulty philosophy. So refutation. If everything is formless, why do we need lokas? Why do we need abodes? If everything is formless, then why do we need places of existence? We know that there is Brahma Loka, we know that there is Naraka Loka, we know that there is Swarga Loka, we know there is Yama Loka. So we have all these lokas, no? Lokas means places of residence. So everything is formless, then why do you need a place of residence? It does not make sense. So if everything is formless, why do we need lokas? Why do we need abodes? See, this is the time when Krishna appeared in the prison house of Kamsa. Vasudev then saw the newborn child who had very wonderful lotus-like eyes and who bore in his 4 hands the 4 weapons, Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma. The conch, the Sudarshan Chakra, the mace and the lotus flower. 2 are for the devotees and 2 are for the demons. On his chest was the mark of Srivatsa and on his neck the brilliant Kaustubha gem. Dressed in yellow, his body blackish like dense cloud, his scattered hair fully grown, and his helmet and earrings sparkling uncommonly with the valuable gem Vaidurya. The child, decorated with a brilliant belt, armlets, bangles, and other ornaments, appeared very wonderful. So when actually Krishna appeared, in ordinary terms, people would use the word born, but we use the word appeared. When Krishna appeared in the jail of Kamsa to Vasudeva and Devaki, he actually came in this 4-handed form. You can see here. He came in this 4-handed form. We even know what kind of jewels he was wearing. We even know the color of his clothes. Krishna always dresses in yellow. You will always see Krishna dressed in yellow, Balaram dressed in blue. So we even know the color of Krishna's clothes. That is the beauty of our Shastra. Where else will you get this information? So you see how Krishna appeared in this 4-handed form, and then upon the request of Devaki, he took the form of a newborn child. But this is how Krishna appeared in the jail. So Krishna can take any form that he likes. Which form is this?
Virat Rupa.
The Virat Roop, yes, or the universal form which he showed to Krishna on the battlefield. And here, what is he doing?
He's preaching Arjuna.
Yeah. What's happening? After he showed the Virat Roop, then what happened?
Then he showed his normal.
Then he showed his Narayan Roop, and after that he showed his Krishna Roop.
Yes, he showed first his 4-handed form and then he showed his 2-handed form. So the point is, one cannot say that God is formless. God is formless. He is also can have a form, okay? Because there's nothing that God cannot do. Krishna can take the his original form is the two-handed form. This is how he resides in Goloka. In Goloka, he is residing in his original two-handed form. But he can manifest the four-handed form. He can manifest the universal form with thousands of eyes, thousands of hands, thousands of legs. He can manifest the form that he likes. So Krishna is saying that they are mudhas, they can get carried away. So not only even the demigods, sometimes they can get bewildered by Krishna. So let's see one example here. Aghasura. Aghasura was one 8-mile long snake demon that Krishna killed when he was only 5 years old. Aghasura assumed the form of a python and expanded himself to a length of 8 miles and the height of a mountain. His mouth seemed to extend from the surface of the earth to the heavenly planets. Having assumed this feature, Aghasura lay on the road. Krishna's friends thought that the demon's form was one of the beautiful spots of Vrindavan and proceeded towards the mouth of the gigantic figure. Krishna was waiting outside and Aghasura was waiting for Krishna, thinking that as soon as Krishna entered, he would close his mouth so that everyone would die. While awaiting for Krishna, he refrained from swallowing the boys. In the meantime, Krishna was thinking how to save the boys and kill Aghasura. Thus, he entered the mouth of the gigantic Asura, and when he was within the demon's mouth, along with his friends, he expanded his body to such an extent that the Asura suffocated and died. After this, Krishna, by casting his nectarian glance upon his friends, brought them back to life, and with pleasure, they all came out unhurt. When this pastime was performed, Krishna was only 5 years old. So here Krishna has expanded his form from within the body of Aghasura. Now, post this, what happened? Lord Brahma comes into the scene. After Krishna killed Aghasura, Brahma saw him as a cowherd boy surrounded by his friends with a lump of food held in his left hand. So here, after this Aghasura was killed, now Krishna is sharing his lunch with his friends, Gopa friends, no? And lunch boxes are being exchanged. Krishna is eating from the lunch boxes of his friends and vice versa. So seeing all this, Lord Brahma was bewildered. He was surprised how a little boy like Krishna could act so wonderfully. He is wondering, is this the same little boy who actually killed that fearful demon Aghasura? So he hit upon a plan to test Krishna's powers for himself. He thought, after his friends and calves have mysteriously disappeared, what will this little boy Krishna do? He stole all the calves and cowherd boys and took them to a different place. So Lord Brahma has now kidnapped all the calves and the Gopa friends of Krishna. Now what did Krishna do? Krishna expanded himself as each one of those Gopa boys and each one of those calves. Okay, he expanded. Why he did that is so that the mothers do not feel separation from their children. So, and when this pastime happened, it is described in the Bhagavatam, you can read that how the cows and the mothers of the Gopa friends, they were showering even more love on them. Actually, they are not their children. They actually Krishna expanded, right? And he has taken the form of those calves and those gopas. So it's not this, and usually a mother would recognize the child, but here the cows and the mothers, they were showering even more love and affection on these boys and calves. Then now Lord Brahma has returned after earthly 1 year. 1 year has passed on the earth planet, but for Brahma it was just one moment. No, after one moment of Brahma, he has come back to see what's going on, what's happening. And then what did Lord Brahma see? Lord Brahma saw how Krishna has expanded into each one of those boys and calves. And you can see how Brahma was completely bewildered at what he saw. So when 1 full year had passed, Brahma returned and saw that Krishna was still engaged as usual with his friends and the calves and cows. Then Krishna exhibited all the calves and cowherd boys as the four-handed forms of Narayan. Brahma could then understand Krishna's potency, and he was astonished by the pastimes of Krishna, his worshipable Lord. So this is, you can see how even the Devatas, Brahma is actually the most intelligent living entity. He is the first recipient of Vedic knowledge. At the dawn of creation, he received Vedic knowledge via the sound vibration of Krishna's flute, no? And so he is the most intelligent living entity, but even Lord Brahma was bewildered by Krishna. After seeing this, Lord Brahma hastily got down from his swan carrier, fell down like a golden rod, and touched the lotus feet of Lord Krishna with the tips of the 4 crowns on his heads. So this is our Brahma, no? Our universe. The Brahma of our universe has 4 heads. Offering his obeisances, he bathed the feet of Krishna with the waters of his tears of joy, rising and falling again and again at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna for a long time. Lord Brahma remembered over and over the Lord's greatness he had just seen. Then, rising very gradually and wiping his 2 eyes, Lord Brahma looked up at Mukunda. Lord Brahma, his head bent low, his mind concentrated with his body trembling, very humbly began with faltering words to offer praises to Lord Krishna. So if you go and read in the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can read the prayers that Lord Brahma offered to Krishna at the end of this pastime. This is called as a Brahma Vimohana Leela, or the pastime when Lord Brahma was bewildered. Mukunda, what does this name of Krishna Mukunda mean?
Liberation.
What's that?
Merciful.
Liberation, mukti.
Liberation. More. What does the name mean? Krishna means liberation? What?
No,
You're missing
is when
something.
you
Huh?
Can you give us a guess? Because when you chant Mukund, you attain liberation. So if you want to give us a little guess.
It's liberator.
Liberator, yes, one who gives liberation. Very nice. So Mukunda means the one who can give you liberation. That is what this name means of Krishna. Okay. See a nice article written by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. The sun is self-luminous, yet those who are under a cloud cannot see it. The words of the Bhagavad Gita, especially its repeated proclamations of the supreme transcendence of Krishna, are self-evident like the sun. Yet the self-evident is not evident to us due to the cloud of misconception. So we see how Krishna over and over again in the Bhagavad Gita is establishing how he is a supreme personality of God and how he is a supreme controller, how everything is under his superintendence, how everything is functioning because of his will. Over and over again, Krishna is proclaiming this in the Bhagavad Gita. So it is very evident. No, it's very clear. There is no doubt. There is no dual view on this. But still, the self-evident is not evident to us. No, there are so many misconceptions. There are so many confusions that exist. There are so many people who do not want to accept Krishna. Why? Because just as how a person who is standing under a cloud cannot see the sun. So one is under the cloud of misconception. So what is the solution? Just as the sun can dissipate the cloud, Krishna can purify us of misconception. So we need that the cloud goes away. How can the cloud be removed? By the sun. So in the same way, we need to let the sun-like wisdom of the Gita fall on our mind and intelligence. If we just take this wisdom of Gita, apply it in our lives, use our mind and intelligence to apply this knowledge, then we will not be under the cloud of illusion. Let's go to 12.
मोघाशामोघकर्माणो मोघज्ञानाविचेतसः राक्षसीमासुरीं चैव प्रकृतिं मोहिनीं श्रिताः.
Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Hare Krishna.
So what happens to those people who are here, let's go back because there's a continuation. Who are avajananti, those who are do not understand, those who deride Krishna. What happens to those people? Krishna is explaining in verse number 12. What is Krishna saying? He's saying that for such people, some things are baffled. Asha, moga asha. So asha means hope. Their hopes are baffled. Moga asha, then moga karmano. Even their fruitive activities are baffled. Then moga jnana. Their knowledge also is baffled. So for such people who deride the Lord when he comes in this human-like form, their hopes, their fruitive activities, their knowledge, everything is baffled, Krishna is saying. And then Krishna is saying that view of is what he is saying, that it is Rakshasim and Asurim. It is demoniac and it is atheistic. Such views that Krishna or Lord is formless, Krishna is saying that it is Rakshasim and Asurim. It is atheistic and demoniac. See, so of course here again Krishna is talking about the Mayavadis. No, Mayavadis, as we discussed, they are very dangerous. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that you must stay away from them. If you hear Mayavadi Bhasha Sunile Haya Sarvanasha, we say, we saw how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if you hear from a Mayavadi, then your spiritual life will be finished. So Mayavadi, see, in a hospital, let's say there are two categories of people, no, the sick, those who are sick and those who are healthy. So if the sick people, they are dressed like a patient, so you know that they are sick. And the doctors who are healthy, they are dressed up like doctors, so you know that they are healthy and you can trust them. They come near you and they treat you, etc. But if somebody is sick and he's dressed up like he's a doctor and he comes near you and treats you, then that is a very dangerous situation, isn't it? So that's what these Mayavadis are, because they are dressed like a devotee. No, they are in saffron clothes and they are renunciants. They are dressed like devotees, but actually they are in the diseased condition, because as Krishna said that they are avajanati ma moda. These foolish people, they deride me when I come in the human form. So that is why the Mayavadis are very, very dangerous. So when somebody is sick and dressed up as a healthy being, he can do you more harm than a person who's actually sick and you know that the person is sick. So you know how to approach such a person. So how does a doctor approach such a person? Then you have to approach them with precaution, with a lot of precaution, just as how a doctor would approach a patient who has a disease that can spread. For example, now during the pandemic, no, when the doctors were treating COVID patients, they had all kinds of masks and the kind of clothes or the gear in order to not get infected by that disease. So with a lot of precaution, they approach such patients. So same thing with the Mayavadis. Now, say Krishna has explained the Mudhas, the ones who believe that, or the Mayavadis, the ones who believe that they can become equal to God. God does not have a form. Now Krishna explains the other extreme, the Mahatmas, the great souls, the Ananya Bhaktas, those who worship the Lord without any other intention but to please the Lord. Let's see now what Krishna says.
महात्मानस्तु मां पार्थ दैवीं प्रकृतिमाश्रिताः भजन्त्यनन्यमनसो ज्ञात्वा भूतादिमव्ययम्.
O son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Original.
What name is this?
Partha?
Who is Partha?
Pritha. Sorry, Pritha.
So we should not confuse Pritha and Partha. Partha is the name of Arjuna. It means son of Pritha. Pritha is the name of? Pritha is the name of? Kunti, yes.
Kunti.
Yes, yes. So son of Pritha, those who are deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. So now Krishna is talking about those who are engaged in devotional service. They are saying, Krishna is saying they are fully engaged in devotional service. So there is no deviation, there is no distraction, fully engaged in devotional service. So these people, they are not deluded. They are the ones who are the Mahatmas. They are the ones who are the great souls. They are under the protection of the divine nature. They are under Krishna's protection because they are fully engaged in devotional service without any deviation. And they know me as the Supreme Personality of God, as Krishna is saying. So they know him as the Supreme, original and inexhaustible. So Krishna is Adim. He is the original and he's Avyayam. He is inexhaustible. Krishna says Adim and Avyayam. So they know that the Lord is original. Everything has come. Original means what? Everything has come from him. He has not come from anyone or anything. So it cannot be that Krishna is coming from the Brahma Jyoti. No, it's vice versa. Brahma Jyoti is coming from Krishna. If somebody says that I believe in the Brahma Jyoti, but I do not believe that Krishna has a form, then it is uh, as incorrect as saying that I believe in the sunshine, but I do not believe in the sun. Because the sunshine is coming from the sun. The source of the sunshine is the sun. So the source of that Brahma Jyoti is Krishna's body. The Brahma Jyoti is the light that is emanating from Krishna's body. So it's absurd to say that I believe in the sunshine, but I do not believe in the sun. So it's absurd to say that I believe in the Brahma Jyoti, but I do not believe in Krishna. So the Mahatmas are those people who are doing, what are they doing? Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Ananya means there is no other deviation. There is the mind, in the mind there is nothing else that is distracting. Only Bhajanti, only rendering of devotional service. So that person is a Mahatma. Krishna continues in 14 about the Mahatmas.
Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate.
Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls reproachfully worship me with devotion.
So these are the four things that a Mahatma does. What are the four things that a Mahatma does? Always chanting my glories. Satatam, satatam, always. What do they do always? Kirtayanto. They are chanting the glories of whom? Mam. Krishna is saying my. So satatam kirtayanto mam. Always chanting my glories. And yatantascha drida vrata, with great determination. No deviation. With great determination, they are worshipping the Lord. Namasyantas, they are bowing down before me. And Nitya Yukta Upasate, they are worshipping me with devotion. Upasna means to worship. So Nitya Yukta, they are worshipping me with, they are perpetually worshipping me with devotion. Nitya Yukta means perpetually, always. So these are the four activities of a Mahatma. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, and perpetually worshipping me with devotion, Krishna is saying. So now he has described the two extremes. Now Krishna will go on to talk about those who are in between these two extremes. But before we go to that section, let's now discuss a little bit about Mahatma. A Mahatma does these four things, is what Krishna has said. So which of the following categories of people can become a Mahatma? Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, or Sannyas? Who can become a Mahatma?
Sannyas, brahmacharis.
Sannyas,
Also, I think
brahmacharis.
All four can become.
All of them.
anyone
Yeah.
who chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, anyone who does devotional service can become Mahatmas.
Yeah, anyone can become a Mahatma. Anyone who does these four things that Krishna mentions here can become a Mahatma. So there is no restriction. There is no rule and regulation saying that, oh, a Grihastha, just because he's living a householder life, because he has not renounced, he is still living with wife or husband and kids and in his home. That doesn't mean that he cannot rise to the level of a Mahatma. Can you think of a Grihastha who actually defeated a sannyasi because of his spiritual strength?
Ambarish was, no, not him.
Yes, Ambarish, you're on the right track. Ambarish was a
He was also Garast, but he had his devotional service, and I think Durvasa Muni came to him and all of that.
Yes.
And Durvasa Muni was Mahatma, and he was also a Mahatma, but both had to keep Ekadashi. One had to break because of, according to the time, one had to take a bath in the Ganga and return back. And so, but he also did his devotional service and on his own. Like he would do everything perfectly, and he would do everything with time consuming table. Like everything has to be done the way the Shastra Vedas have accordingly made the system, so
Okay,
he
that's
was
good enough. That's good. Let's not go into details because we've already given this story. We've explained the story in our classes in the past. So, yes, Ambarish Maharaj was a Grihastha and he was able to defeat Durvasa Muni, who was a sannyasi, by his spiritual strength. Then Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, who can become a Mahatma?
Brahman.
Brahman, Kshatriyas, what about Kshatriyas? Was Arjuna a Kshatriya?
All of them.
No.
Yeah, all of them
Yes.
again can become a Mahatma. Even a Shudra, a Vaishya, a Kshatriya, they can also become Mahatmas. A Kshatriya who became a Mahatma was Arjuna. Imagine Krishna is personally pulling his chariot. Can you think of a Shudra who rose to the level of a Mahatma? Someone who was born from the womb of a maid servant in the Mahabharata.
Vidur. Oh,
Vidur, yes, very nice, Shivani. So Vidura was born from the womb of a maid on Shudra birth, but he rose to the level of a Mahatma. Adult child, can you think of a child who became a Mahatma and defeated his father, an adult, a very powerful demon?
Prahlad.
Prahlad, yes. Educated, uneducated. Can you think of an uneducated person who personally received the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Haridas Thakur.
Haridas Thakur was not uneducated. Uneducated.
Valmiki.
Was it Jadai Madai?
No, we have discussed how a Brahman was given the instruction by his spiritual master to read the Bhagavad Gita, but because he was uneducated, he didn't know how to read. He was not able to read, but he was just flipping through the pages and he was crying. Remember, we have discussed the story. He was crying, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approaches him and asks him that, why are you crying? And then he says that my guru has told me to read every day the Bhagavad Gita. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, okay, but why are you crying? So he says, when I visualize that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's pulling the chariot. No, he has taken the subordinate position of a servant, menial servant, and he's pulling the chariot. He's become the driver for his devotee. That makes me cry. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, yes, you have perfectly understood the Bhagavad Gita. So he was completely uneducated from the material angle of vision. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have perfectly understood the Bhagavad Gita. Man, woman, can you think of a woman who became a guru and made many devotees on the strength of her preaching? Female gurus are also a controversial subject matter today, but this was 500 years back. Who was that?
Was it the prostitute that came and
No,
then
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother.
No. Lord Nityananda's wife. Okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, they are Krishna and Balaram. So Lord Nityananda's wife, Jahanava Mata, she became a guru. By her merciful preaching, by her potent preaching, she was able to convince many atheists, many hardcore atheists also to take up devotional service. Rich, poor. Can you think of a poor person who had nothing at all at his disposal to worship the Lord? But he was a great soul, Mahatma. The Lord personally reciprocated with him.
Sudama.
Sudama.
Sudama, okay, very nice. Very poor, but the Lord personally reciprocated with him. Okay, very nice. One more example. We have seen in our classes. What about the Brahmana?
Shabri.
The Brahmana who, yeah, Shabri also. What about the Brahmana who who mentally prepared a lavish feast because he wanted to worship the Lord, but he does not have the financial resources. So he did Manasa Puja. Mentally, he prepared this feast. And then he wanted to test the temperature of the food. He inserted his finger only mentally, but his finger was actually burnt. So the Lord, what does that mean? The Lord is reciprocating his love immediately, isn't it? So he was completely poor. He had no financial resources, but he had the desire to opulently worship the Lord. And he so mentally did it, and the Lord was accepting. What about geographical restrictions? Indian, American, Chinese, Russian? Is Mahatma only a made in India product?
No.
Everybody.
Everybody, yes. So one must not think that Mahatmas or great souls or only devotees are only born in India. He can be born, he or she can take birth anywhere on the planet, anywhere in the universe. We know many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they surrendered to Srila Prabhupada, and today they are Stalwart devotees, no, for 50, 60, 70 years now, they have been serving the mission. They are serving Srila Prabhupada. They are still serving and making devotees, and now they are gurus in ISKCON. So sometimes people ask, oh, why did you accept an American guru? India mein koi nahi mila kya? So Mahatmas or great souls are not only a made in India product. What matters is the spiritual advancement of the person, not what passport is he holding. That doesn't matter. A sinner, an offender, dacoit, hunter, can they become Mahatmas?
Yes.
Can you give an example?
Valmiki.
Valmiki, he was a dacoit, isn't it? He even went to attack Narada Muni with his sword. He approached Narada Muni with a sword and he wanted to attack him with the sword. But then because of Narada Muni's preaching, he chanted the holy name, and then he was so qualified that he was empowered to script the Ramayana. Very nice. Then offenders who became Mahatmas?
Jagai Madai.
Jagai and Madai, yes. Jagai and Madai, the two offenders, they offended Nityananda Prabhu. They struck him with the pot. Lord Nityananda Prabhu was bleeding. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invoked his Sudarshan Chakra and he immediately wanted to kill them, isn't it? But Lord Nityananda pleaded to forgive them. Then they surrendered to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then forgave them, and then they became stalwart devotees. Who was a hunter and became a Mahatma? His name
I
starts
don't
with
remember his name, but he used to kill the animals and watch them suffer.
Valmiki.
And
Yes, he used to
No,
kill the
no.
animals, and how he used to kill them? Not Valmiki. Valmiki was a dacoit. We are talking about a hunter. He used to half kill
he
the
wouldn't kill them fully. He would make them suffer and
Yes,
watch
he
them
would
die.
not kill them fully. He would make them suffer, no? So he would half kill them and he would rejoice or be very happy to see how they are suffering before they give up their body. So even he was convinced. Who convinced him to take to devotional service?
Narad Muni.
Narada Muni again, no? So his name was Brigari the hunter. So yes, even a sinner, offender, dacoit, a hunter, no matter who, even they can become a Mahatma. Civilized, uncivilized,
Both.
both also can become Mahatma. So what we are trying to say is that it doesn't matter what category of one belongs to. Anybody can rise to become a Mahatma. So the Lord is impartial. He gives an equal opportunity to everyone. No, so Krishna is an equal opportunity employer. He's not saying, oh, you are an offender, oh, you are an American, you are born in the family of dog eaters, oh, you are born in a Shudra low caste family, you are born in an untouchable family, so you cannot become a Mahatma. No, Krishna is an equal opportunity employer. He is giving equal opportunity to everyone to come and take advantage of the fact that if they surrender unto him, they can rise to the level of being a great soul, a Mahatma. So who's this?
No. Valmiki?
Yeah, this is Valmiki. He was previously Ratnakar and then he became Valmiki. Who is this?
Haridas Thakur.
Haridas Thakur. Was he born in a
Muslim
Brahmin
family.
family? He was born in a
No,
meat-eating
Muslim
family, isn't it? He was born in a Mohammedan family, Islamic, and therefore, but then he rose to the level of being the Nama Acharya. Nama Acharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself certified that Haridas Thakur is a Nama Acharya, one who can teach by his own personal example how we should chant the holy name. So you can see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here, he's personally carrying, when Haridas Thakur gave up his body, he personally carried his body, and then the last rites and rituals were performed for Haridas Thakur in the presence of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In fact, he himself did the needful. Who are these two personalities?
The Goswamis, two of the Goswamis.
Two Goswamis, what are their names?
Raghunath Bhatt. And I don't know.
The two first names that come. Who is the author of the Nectar of Devotion?
Sanatan Goswami and Rupa
Sanatan
Goswami.
Goswami.
Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, isn't it? So say they were actually serving under Muslim rulers at that time. See, there are many names for God throughout the world and throughout the universe, but Krishna is the supreme name according to Vedic knowledge. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, as a supreme means for realization in this age. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not make any distinctions to caste or social position. Indeed, most of his foremost disciples were considered to be fallen in society. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even appointed Haridas Thakur, a Muslim, as Nama Acharya or preceptor of the holy names. Similarly, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, who were Lord Chaitanya's principal disciples, were formerly known as Shakara Malik and Dabira Khasa and were employed by the Muslim government. So in those days, the Hindus were so strict that if a Brahmana accepted service from a non-Hindu, he was immediately ostracized from the Hindu society. So this is what Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami did. They were actually serving the Muslim government. No, so actually at that time, if such a thing would happen, that immediately they would be ostracized from the service, from the society. But despite this, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were made principal authorities in the science of Krishna by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there is no bar against anyone. Anyone can become a spiritual master provided he knows the science of Krishna. So this is about Haridas Thakur. You can see how Haridas Thakur became so powerful, such a pure devotee, that by his preaching, by his chanting, he was able to convince a prostitute to completely surrender. You can read this detail when we share the slides in the next class. So see the potency of the chanting of the holy name. That's why he is the Nama Acharya. And then this is the story of Jagai and Madai. How Jagai and Madai also went through a complete transformation. Having received the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda, both the brothers became completely transformed. They would chant 200,000 names of the Lord every day, offer everyone humble obeisances, and constantly berate themselves for their past sinful activities. Madai in particular was very remorseful at the fact that he had caused physical harm to Nityananda Prabhu and would shed many tears for this. Finally, he approached the Lord and begged for some act of atonement. The compassionate Lord assured him that he was completely forgiven, but if he wanted to atone for his past sins, then he could build a bathing place at the banks of the river Ganges to help people take a bath. Madai enthusiastically built this place, which still exists in the name of Madai Ghat. If you visit Mayapur, in Sri Mayapur Dham, you can actually go and visit Madai Ghat, the place, the bathing ghat that Madai built upon the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He would constantly be present there, humbly offering any and all services to devotees. In this way, the two brothers spent the rest of their lives singing the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So what a transformation. See here, you can see these two offenders, and then they became stalwart Vaishnavas. What a change, no? What a transformation. Their samadhi also is mentioned at Madai Tala. If you visit Mayapur Dham, you can see. Then this is Mrigari the hunter. See here, he would half kill the animals, and then because of the association with Narada Muni, he underwent such a transformation that when Narada Muni went to visit his disciple after a few days along with his friend Parvata Muni, and Mrigari was approaching his spiritual master, he was very careful that there are ants on the way. So he was trying to move the ants with his cloth because he didn't want to step on the ants and unknowingly kill them. So what a transformation from one who took pleasure in half killing the animals, from being that sadist and getting that pleasure. Now he doesn't want to step on the ants. What a transformation. So even a hunter, a sadist, can become a Mahatma. So this is Prahlad again. This is, who are these two personalities?
Durvasa Muni and
Amrish Maharaj.
Yes,
Amrish.
Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj. We already discussed. Who is this?
Prahlad.
No, Prahlad
Or
is
Dhruv.
here. Dhruv, yes, Dhruv Maharaj. No, he personally saw the four-handed form of the Lord. And he was also only a 5-year-old child. See, Prahlad was born in a demon family. He is not born in a devotee family. He is not born in a Brahman Kshatriya family. He is actually born in a demon family. But still he became a Mahatma. This is Jahanava Mata, we have discussed. And this is the Brahmana who burnt his finger when he did Manasa Puja. And this is Vidura from the Mahabharata. We have already discussed all of them. See here, this is a very recent photo. This is in Russia. Now she is a woman. She is a Brahmana initiate. And she is blessing a man who is from Indian origin. So what a powerful picture, isn't it? So he is Indian, she is Russian. He's a man, she's a woman. But now she has elevated herself because of her spiritual practices. She's a Brahman initiate, and so she's a Brahmana in the ISKCON temple, and she is blessing this Indian man. So age no bar, caste no bar, gender no bar, geographical location no bar. See this verse on
What is the name of the Brahmin? Sorry,
who?
the Brahmin who did not know how to read.
That name is
tried-
not given. That name is not available to us. It's only written a Brahmana. That's all.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the symptoms of a
Mataji,
sadhu. What's that?
sorry, can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Mataji, the Haridas Thakur, who was he incarnation of? Do we know?
Haridas Thakur was actually Lord Brahma.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. So anybody who has the symptoms of a sadhu, who has these qualities, he is a sadhu. He is a saintly person. He is a Mahatma. Nothing else matters. So as we discussed, Krishna has described Mudas and Mahatmas. And now he will see the three categories who are in between: the Ekatvena, Prathakvena, and Vishvato Mukham. The Brahmavadis, the demigod worshippers, and the worshippers of the universal form. Let's hear the shloka.
ज्ञानयज्ञेन चाप्यन्ये यजन्तो मामुपासते एकत्वेन पृथक्त्वेन बहुधा विश्वतो मुखम्.
Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many and in the universal form.
So one who is engaged in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge, jnana yajnena. So he is talking about the three kinds of jnanis who are worshipped in different kind of a worship. What are they? Ekatvena, Prathakvena, and Vishvato Mukham. Ekatvena, worshipping the Supreme Lord as the one without a second. So they are the Brahmavadis or the Mayavadis. Then Prathakvena, diverse in many. So they will accept even the devatas as a supreme personality of Godhead. That's why we have so many. They will say that you have so many gods, no, diverse in many. And Vishvato Mukham, the universal form. So here is a summary, and then Krishna will go on to elaborate. See here in the purport, we can read how the Ekatvenas, who worship the Lord as one without a second, they are the lowest and the most predominant. They are lowest and most predominant. One without a second means there is nobody who is inferior and nobody who is superior. We are all equal to God. That's what it means, one without a second. So they believe that we can become equal to God. So they are the lowest and the most predominant. Most of the human population who are worshipping are in this category, Ekatvenas. Then Prathakvena concocts some form of the Supreme and worships that form, includes demigod worshippers. So somebody will say that so-and-so is a Devata and he is a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Somebody who is a worshipper of Durga will say Durga is the Supreme. Somebody will say Ganesh is the Supreme. Somebody will say Lord Shiva is the Supreme. Somebody may say Lord Brahma is the Supreme. Indra, Chandra, Surya, Varuna. There are so many Devatas, isn't it? But we should understand what is the position of the Devatas and what is the position of Krishna. What is the position of the president of the country and what is the position of the other ministers of the country. It's not that we are belittling or we are insulting. No, we worship, or rather we respect everyone. It's not a joke to be a Devata. It's not a joke to get that position of a Devata. But we should not get confused. We need to worship them in their correct position. That is what is important. Then, of course, Krishna will further elaborate. And Vishvato Mukham, accepting the universal form as the supreme material meditational tool to reach the absolute truth. So we have already discussed how this universal form is actually a something that Krishna manifested at that time. But he is not actually existing in that universal form in some loka, in Goloka or Vaikuntha Loka. It's not like that. So Vishvata Mukham is the best of these three. And these worshippers, they consider universe to be the supreme organism and worship that. They cannot conceive of anything beyond this material manifestation. So these people, they cannot conceive anything beyond material manifestation. So therefore, they are worshipping that material manifestation. And here this is discussed in 16 to 19. Let's see, 16.
Aham kraturaham yajnah Swadhahamaham Mantrohamahame Ahamagmiraham hutam.
But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering.
So here Krishna is talking about how to recognize and worship him in the universal form. In the universal form. So here what is Krishna saying? It is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice. He is the offering to the ancestors. He is the healing herb, the transcendental chant. He is the butter and the fire and the offering. So all the elements that are used for a yajna, that Krishna is mentioning, that everything is him. Krishna is all these elements, all these principal elements that are used to do the yajna. So here he is mentioning only the principal elements. So he's saying that he is the ritual. He is the sacrifice. He is the offering to the ancestors. He is the healing herb. Healing herb here, what is offered? Ghee, right? Then he is the transcendental chant. Even the chants, even the mantras, that is also Krishna. He's saying, I am the butter, I am the fire, and I am the offering. So everything is Krishna. Now, Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport the Pancha Mahayagya, the 5 sacrifices performed by the householders to become free from unintentional sins and repay the Brahmanas, Devatas, ancestors, other living entities, and human beings. So, it is a duty of every human being to do this Pancha Mahayagya. Why? Because by this Pancha Mahayagya, we can please these 5 categories of people that are mentioned here. Why do we need to please these 5 categories of people that are mentioned here? Because we are indebted to these 5 categories of people. We are indebted to the Brahmanas because they teach us the Shastra. So therefore, we need to please the Brahmana. We need to please the Devatas because the Devatas are providing us our necessities like the sunlight, the moonlight, water, knowledge. No, so these are all there's a devata in charge for every single thing. Even for the blinking of our eyes, there is one devata who's in charge. So for everything there are devatas, different categories are there. Then ancestors, we are indebted to our ancestors, to our parents, because we have got this body, we have got this birth because of them. Other living entities, we are indebted, for example, to the bees for our honey. We depend on the cow for our milk. From the milk, we make so many nice products, butter, ghee, and we depend on the sheep for our wool. So like that, we are dependent on other living entities and fellow human beings. We are dependent on other human beings. Like somebody else is growing the crop for us. No, somebody else is bringing them to the city. We just have to go to the shop and purchase it. So like that, we are dependent on other human beings also. So therefore, because in order to repay the debt of these 5 categories of people, we have to do these 5 yajnas. So how do we please the Brahmanas? When we teach and study the Shastra, then we can please the Brahmanas. How do we please the Devatas? By performing yajnas. How do we please the ancestors? By doing the Shraddha ceremony, by doing tarpana or offering of water. That's how we can please our ancestors, our pitras. How can we please the other living entities? By offering food to all creatures. That's why in our culture we have feeding the crows. You remove one portion of your food first, and then you can eat the rest, like that. So why? Because we need to feed the other creatures. And then we also have this culture of how we treat the guests as God. We receive them nicely. So when we have guests at home, we should be very hospitable to them. So like that, we can please the other human beings. So like that, these are called as the Pancha Maha Yagyas. So Manu Samhita says a householder has 5 slaughterhouses. What are they? The hearth, the grinding stone, the broom, the pestle, and the mortar, and the water vessel. Why? Because every time a householder, grihastha, uses these, some living entities are losing their lives. So in order to successfully expiate the offenses committed by the means, these 5 yagyas are recommended in our Shastras. He who neglects not these 5 great sacrifices while he is able is not tainted by the sins in the 5 places of slaughter, though he constantly lives in the house. He who does not feed these 5, the gods, the guests, those whom he is bound to maintain, the mains and himself, lives not though he breathes. They call these 5 sacrifices also Ahuta, Huta, Prahuta, Brahmya Huta, and Prasita. So like that, the Shastra says that it is important for each one of us to perform these sacrifice, these 5 Pancha Mahayagya. Now question, is there any householder who's exempt from doing these 5 yagyas?
No.
No?
Maybe Shudras?
Shudras?
Those who are in devotional service?
Exactly, yes. Very nice, Varsha. Those who are engaged in rendering devotional service unto Krishna are to be understood to have performed all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas. So if one is engaged in devotional service to Krishna, if one is engaged in bhakti, then there is no need to perform these 5 yagyas, because it is considered to be already done. Remember, everything else is a subset within the superset of devotional service. So if you are engaged in devotional service, then there is no need to perform this Pancha Mahayagya, because by worshipping Krishna, by pleasing Krishna, you are automatically pleasing the Brahmanas, you are automatically pleasing the other living entities, pleasing the human beings, pleasing the Devatas, you are automatically pleasing everybody else. So therefore, only they are exempt from doing these 5 yagyas. Let's go to 17.
पिताहमस्य जगतो माता धाता पितामहः वेद्यं पवित्रमोङ्कार ऋक्सामयजुरेव च.
I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama and the Yajurvedas.
So Pitaham Asya Jagato, of the Jagat, he is the Pitaham, he is the father. So Krishna is saying that I am the father of this universe. He is also the Mata, he is also the mother of the universe. Dhata, he is the support of the universe. Pitamaha, he is also the grandfather of this universe. He is Vedyam, he is also the object of knowledge. From the Vedas, ultimately you have to come to the conclusion who is to be known after all the studies of the Vedas. It is Krishna who has to be known. So Krishna is saying he is the object of knowledge. From all that knowledge, who has to be known? He is that object. No? So Krishna is the object of knowledge, he's saying. He is the purifier. He is Pavitram. How he is a purifier? Just by reading about Krishna, just by reading about his pastimes or reading the Bhagavad Gita, one can get purified. So Krishna is the purifier. Just by reading his message, his pastimes, his leelas, his about his name, fame, form, we can get purified. So he is the purifier. He is the syllable Om, Omkara, Krishna is saying. There are many people who don't have a problem chanting Om, but they have a problem accepting Krishna. But Krishna is saying that Omkara, that is also Krishna only. So he is also the syllable Om. All the mantras begin with Om. There is no mantra that does not begin with Om. So all the mantras begin with the name of Krishna. So the syllable Om. Krishna, then he's saying he's also the Rig Veda, the Samaveda, and the Yajur Vedas. So nothing can exist independent of Krishna. So one may say, why is Krishna mentioning only 3 Vedas here? Why is he not mentioning 4? There are actually 4 Vedas. So for that, you can get the answer here. The original Veda is Atharva Veda, later on divided into 4 for divisional understanding. So the 3 Vedas, Rig, Sam, and Yajur, are specifically directed at the Supreme. Yagyas and hymns to connect with the Lord. Atharva Veda is all the other stuff, politics, military science, Vastu Shastra, Ayurveda, Varnashram, and so on. In other words, all the material sciences. So original Vedas, Atharva Veda, from here then many things were categorized and taken to Sama, Yajur and Rig Veda. So whatever was remaining, all the material sciences, that is in the Atharva Veda. Let's go to 18.
गतिर्भर्ता प्रभुः साक्षी निवासः शरणं सुहृत् प्रभवः प्रलयस्थानं निधानं बीजमव्ययम्.
I'm the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refugee, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and the internal seed.
So Krishna says, I am the goal. He is the Gatir. Ultimately, the goal is to reach Krishna. Then he's saying he's a Bhata. He's a sustainer. He's the one who sustains. No, he's the one who maintains this entire cosmic manifestation. He's Prabhu. He's the master. Sakshi, he's a witness. How is Krishna a witness? How is he witnessing each of our activities?
Sitting in our heart, right, and seeing everything we're desiring and doing.
Exactly. As a super soul, he is witnessing each of our activities. So he's saying he's Sakshi. Then he's saying he's Nivasa. He's the abode. Sharanam, he is the ultimate refuge. And Suhrit, he is the most dear friend. We have discussed how Krishna is the most dear friend for each and every one of us because he is accompanying us as a super soul when we change all these millions and millions of bodies, birth and death, every time when we are worms in the stool, when we are in the body of a dog, cow, and pig, eating stool in the body of a pig. Also, Krishna is accompanying us as the super soul. So there is no greater friend. There is no friend who's more dear to us than Krishna. Then he says, I am the creation, I am the annihilation, the basis of everything. He is the resting place and the eternal seed. What name of Krishna means that he is a resting place of all the living entities?
Narayan.
Narayan, yes, very nice. The word Ayana means resting place. No, that's why the bedroom is called as Shayana Kaksh, where we rest, Shayana. So the word Ayana means to rest. So Lord is called as Narayan. Nara means living entity. So Narayan means he is the resting place. He is the ultimate resting place of all the living entities. And then Krishna says that he is also Bijam Avyayam. Bijam Avyayam, he is the eternal seed. So it's Krishna as the original seed from which everything else has come into existence. The last verse for today, and then we will wind up. 19.
तपाम्यहमहं वर्षं निगृह्णामुत्सृजामि च अमृतं चैव मृत्युश्च सदसच्चाहमर्जुन.
Oh Arjuna, I give heat and I withhold and send forth the rain. I am immortality and I am also that personified. Both spirit and matter are in me.
So Tapami, Krishna is saying Tapami Aham. I am the one who gives the heat, and Aham Varsham. He is only the one who's sending rain. So one can say, but rain god is Indra. The sun god is giving heat and light. So how is Krishna saying that he gives heat and he gives rain? Because
Krishna
You're
is
just,
the sup-
you're just
Go.
the representative of giving the duties that are different duties, but Krishna is the main subject matter that provides all that. If it wasn't for Krishna, all these things would have not been created. Krishna has created all these things and then he has left them to play their role, play their duty.
yeah,
But Krishna is the source.
Yeah, Krishna is the source. So all the devatas also have come into existence because of Krishna, and it is Krishna who has empowered them with the particular task, with a particular service. Okay. So therefore, Krishna is saying, I give heat, I withhold, and I send forth the rain. I am immortality. And he's also death personified. For the non-devotees, he is death personified. For the devotees, he is immortality. How? Because for the devotees, now no more birth and no more death. So Krishna is immortality for his devotees. But for the non-devotees who do not want to surrender, he is death personified. Because for them, again and again, they have to go through death, birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. Both spirit and matter are in me, Krishna is saying. Sat and Asat. Sat means that which is spiritual, and asat means non-spiritual. That means material. So everything material and everything spiritual are in me. Cha aham. Sat asat cha aham, Arjuna. Everything that is spirit and matter. So beyond material, beyond spiritual, there is nothing. Everything is within these two. So that also Krishna is saying that is in me. So here in this section of verses, Krishna has described Vishvato Mukham. You know, the three people who are worshipping Krishna indirectly, we said that there are three: Ekatvena, Prathakvena, and Vishvato Mukham. In these verses, Krishna is describing Vishvato Mukham. That's why he is describing how this whole material manifestation is none other than Krishna. In the next class, from 20 onwards, we will see how Krishna is going to talk about Prathakvena, the worship of the Devatas, worship of the demigods. Here also Krishna is going to reveal some very mind-boggling facts, but that is for next Saturday, if Krishna so sanctions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Do we have any questions?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
It says 19 Shloka Tapanyamaham Varsham. It says that matter and spirit, no distinction between matter and spirit. What does that mean?
No, he is not saying no distinction. He is saying matter and spirit are in me. So everything that is material
Yes.
is in Krishna, everything that is spiritual is in Krishna. He is not saying that there is no distinction.
Okay, there's a sentence here. It says no one can ascertain that for Krishna there is no distinction. Okay. For Krishna
Him, there is no distinction. Yes, of course, for him, there is everything is coming from him. For him, it doesn't matter whether Krishna is in the material world or he's in the spiritual world. It does not matter. No. He can do his pastimes here also. And even when he's in the material world, he remains untouched by material contamination. So for him, of course, there is no distinction.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't read the whole sentence. I was reading the last part first and then the first part second. Sorry. I have a tendency to do that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, what else? By next Saturday, we will, Krishna willing, we will put up chapter 9 exam. Okay. Any other questions or doubts or anything we need to discuss? Okay, then, since there is nothing more to speak, we'll wind up for the day. See you all next week if Krishna so sanctions. Vancha kalpataru vyascha kripa sindhu vyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad
Jai.
ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you very much.
Welcome.